We all know what it's like to be trapped or feel like we're trapped in a bad habit. How do we turn that around so we have a good habit? That's what we're going to talk about in this episode. But before we get to it, just a really quick housekeeping announcement. I wanted to give you an update about a little hint we gave in one of the previous episodes a while back. We are still working on a special project. Originally, we thought we would unveil it around Valentine's Day. Obviously, didn't happen. But we are still doing it, and we're probably going to unveil it in March.
I'm Siena.
And I'm Toast.
We've been partners in life, love, and music since 2001, and we believe life is best lived as a love story. Your love story.
After all, to love well is to live well. For more, check out sienaandtoast.com. But for now, here's this episode. And welcome to it.
I think Bear is seeing ghosts in our house.
You know, I think cats can see ghosts.
Yeah.
They suddenly turn their head and their eyes get really big and they're staring at something which none of us can see.
You know what's so interesting is sometimes they don't even just have a fixed stare. They're staring and following something.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think Bear is a friend of a few ghosts in our house. A few day ghosts. He's seen some day ghosts. I don't mind a day ghost, a good old-fashioned day ghost.
It's the night ghosts we don't like. Okay. Let's sage after this episode.
All right.
So
Thank you for joining us. We're talking about bad habits today and how to turn them into good habits.
Mm-hmm. Virtuous cycles. Mm-hmm. Vicious cycles. Ooh.
Yep.
Everybody knows about those things. We all know from experience, you know, that thing where you're like, you're doing something and you're like, I don't really want to be doing this. Like, I want to change my ways, but it's surprisingly and distressingly difficult to do sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's like, what the heck?
Yeah. And I think where we differ, you and I, is I think for you, what tends to work to get you out of that cycle is just taking action. Like making yourself, like just doing it. And I think you're so good at doing that. Like just making yourself do it.
Like suck it up and just shut up and do it.
Yeah.
Like
you're
that.
So good at that. Where I...
everything's relative.
am not good at that. And for me, I need a slower ramp up to the good habit.
You don't respond well to a kick in the ass.
No, I get angry. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I'm sticking my butt out going like, kick me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like being kicked in the ass.
Yeah.
I do not. I get angry. And I prefer like, okay, let me get inspired. Let me write out a plan. Let me first get mentally prepared for what the change is. And then let me plan the action. But the action will have better take and hold because I'll have had this mental preparation.
That's so neat that you lay that out.
Mental
like
and
the
spiritual
difference, you know, the difference between us.
Yeah.
Because I think those seem to me to be great examples of masculine versus the feminine energies of a change in behavior.
Yeah.
And maybe more accurately, not a change in behavior, the masculine and feminine approaches to, what was I going to say? Lost my thought.
Oh, well. Let's talk about French fries.
Okay.
I'll
be working on the thought.
You think about that.
All right.
Okay. So, so something that I gotta say that I pride myself on not being afraid in the kitchen. Like, I'm not afraid to try something. I have had enough, successes in the kitchen. I have certain meals that I love to make that I make well. And so that has given me confidence to make something. And so...
yeah, you just kind of play it by ear.
Yeah, and I can fix things. Like if something doesn't taste right, I can normally save it.
Right.
Or know what is missing from it to really bring out dimension and flavor.
Yeah.
Now, I will not say I'm a chef or I'm like this great cook at all, but I can make some wonderful comfort food dishes. I can make some, I think maybe what I do best is turning a comfort food into a healthy food.
Yes.
I think maybe I do that the best. And I love that.
That's your specialty.
Okay. So when Toast recently said, fries would be good,
I just had the munchies.
Toast she wanted salt, she wanted carbs. And then I knew that we had organic potatoes in the house, and I'm like, I could make fries.
Yeah, see, because my original inkling was, I want potato chips, but we don't have potato chips in the house. I could have popcorn. I could make popcorn, but I don't, that doesn't feel right. So Siena was like, well, I can make French fries.
I can make French fries, yeah. So to me, I felt confident. So the thing is that I wanted to make sure that they were crispy. And a crispy fry, I did not know the trick to that. So I looked it up and I'm like, okay, I'm down. I'm going to do this. So I cut the potatoes. I put the sugar to pull out all the excess moisture, which I didn't know people do. I got the baggie, put all the spices, put the olive oil, shook it like shake and bake, but I'm shaking the fries in there. So did all this beautiful prep. Then I realized I'm supposed to cook this thing on pans with foil. We don't normally love using foil, but I was willing to do that. And when I went into the drawer, there's the near empty box of foil, and that just had this tiny little sheet.
Useless.
That maybe Bear could be baking little, like, what is that? The baking
Easy
oven for
bake
kids.
oven.
Yeah. It was a foil strip about that big. So I'm like, okay, can't do this. No problem. Let's just oil this pan up, throw it on there, and bake them.
Just straight on the pan. No aluminum foil.
No foil. Well, that didn't work. And the fries totally burned on one side.
Yeah, on the side that was like touching the pan.
Black. They burned black.
Yes.
And I was so sad because I was starting to see that this method of getting all the moisture out of the potatoes would have worked to get them crispy. Not black, but crispy. I was like, I can see this is promising.
And our theory was that
they were charred.
But our theory was that
black,
the foil would have prevented it from burning.
Yeah, maybe Ryan might know.
So we can check that next time. Ryan, our chef friend.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
But it was totally salvageable, and we ate up all of those fries, even though they were totally black on one side. And in fact, we had some
fun. Carcinogens.
In fact, we had a lot of fun because we totally are confident in saying that if we had gone to one of our favorite spiffy
LA eateries,
hipstery Italian restaurants, and they had on their menu an appetizer called fire charred potato wedges with organic apricot barbecue sauce.
Yep.
And we had ordered that, and they had brought this plate of burnt fries to our table. We would have been like, ooh, oh, yeah, that looks so great. Oh, my gosh. We would be delighted. So that's how we enjoyed them. And I did genuinely enjoy them.
It's how you frame it, people.
That's right.
So
we thought that was a good story to share.
I made some gourmet fire-charred potato wedges for toast.
Yes, fire-charred.
Post-Valentine's Day delight. Yeah. Anyways, that's a good story only because sometimes things don't turn out the way you want them to, but it's how you frame it.
It's all in how you frame it.
Okay, Bear wants to get down. Hold on. Okay.
Let me stop recording. All right, and he's down. Okay, virtuous cycle. That's fantastic, uplifting, positive sense of momentum. Love that, right? It's more and more and more. It's flourishing. It's vibrant. It's vigorous. We love that. Vicious cycle. That's just the opposite. It's taking you down and you're getting even lower with each passing round. Horrible. This phenomenon reminds me of something that Jesus said in the Gospels. And he said, according to the Gospels, for to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Ooh. In other words, if you have something, you're going to be given even more and you're going to get richer. And if you don't have something, then even what you have is going to be taken away and you're going to get poorer. The rich will get richer, the poor will get poorer. And I remember reading that when I was a little kid. I mean, like, that is so unfair. That's the opposite of justice. Like, what? Yep. I do not consent. No, there's something wrong with that. But now when I read it, I kind of interpret it and take that as being just a statement of illustrating this fact of if you tend to look at the situation, in such a way where it's like, you know what, I'm going to make use of what I have. You're looking at the glass half full. Then that point of view, then that energy that you bring to the situation, which is the glass is half full. We're going to use that. It's a boon to me. It's going to produce more for you. But if you come to the same situation with the opposite attitude of, oh my God, look, I don't even have a full glass, man. Like, geez,
it's the frequency.
Then you're gonna get
the frequency.
Then how you interact with that is not gonna help you, and you're gonna be losing even that.
Yeah. Power ready. Okay, so how do you know if you're in a vicious cycle? You know. You can't not know. Yes, if you're in a vicious cycle, if you feel
dissatisfied,
frustrated, down on yourself, when you're aware that you could be doing something differently.
What if you don't know what you could be doing differently? You could still be in a vicious cycle.
Yeah. And just dissatisfied, right?
Right. Because you just know that this is the present.
That it doesn't feel good.
Right. It doesn't feel good. And that you have this sneaking suspicion, this knowing that it could be better.
Here it is. It takes work,
Okay.
It takes work. Right. I know we all want everything to be easy, but it takes work. And the work required here is to know what you want in your life, to know who you want to be in your life, to know what you want out of life. And that goes also for your relationship. If you're in a relationship, what you want your relationship to be like. So it's really having a vision for what you want your life to be. And I think we don't spend enough time considering that.
And instead, we just kind of
show
we take
up
it for what we need to show up for, what other people tell us we need to show up for, instead of determining ourselves what we want to show up for.
Yes. And I think when you have a clear vision, and it doesn't have to be perfect, because as long as you have a starting point, the more you continue to work with that vision for yourself, the more will be revealed to you as far as details or things like, oh, yeah, I would actually really love that too. And you add that to your vision. Or it could be, if you admire a person, I would love to be like that person. I love that quality of theirs where they, whatever. I love that quality of theirs. What would it take for me to have more of that, to be more of that in my life? But that takes work, to know who you want to be in this world. Who do you want to be? What do you want to have? What do you want to do? All of that is so connected with who you show up to be in the world. And I think when we're in those vicious cycles, knowing how to get out of that and break the cycle takes being connected to what it is you would rather have in your life. Who the person you'd rather be. Do you want to be the person sitting on the couch eating potato chips, watching Friends
Binge watching.
for the 10th? Friends? I don't know why that came to mind.
Watching The King of Queens.
I don't know. They're promoting it. That's why.
Are they really?
Yeah. But anyways, going back to whatever you're watching, just do you want to be the couch potato person?
No, I don't.
Right. But it takes, when you know you don't want to be the couch potato person, then you automatically, in general, know what you would like. Mm-hmm. When you know you don't want to be a couch potato person.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Then you at least know what a non-couch potato person
Yes.
is.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So once you have that, you have to just build on it.
And make moves.
What would
in
you
that
want to
direction.
do? Yes. What would you be doing with your time? What would you... Well, I really want to write that book.
Yes. I'd be working out.
Yeah.
I'd be preparing a healthy meal.
Yes. There are things that you would rather be doing. That the greater part of you would rather be doing.
Exactly. The greater part of you. That's the tricky part, is because
it's who you're listening to, right?
We have internal conflict.
Yes.
Because part of us obviously does want to sit on the couch and eat potatoes, because that's what potato chips, because that's what we're doing. So there's something that's causing me to want to do that.
It's because we're numbing. Okay. So there's a lot. Okay. So this topic, I thought it was going to be a fairly straightforward topic, but I guess it's not. So here's the thing. Something you have to remember is that as human beings, as spiritual beings, we feel best when we're making progress. So that doesn't need to mean like, oh, when you are a goal crusher,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
When you have gotten 10 degrees, it doesn't mean that. Just making progress, taking a step forward,
Yep.
does so much for our spirits
Yes.
and our souls.
And
I think we have to...
the virtuous cycle.
Yes, and I think we have to remember that. So when we're in a vicious cycle, are you making progress?
You're making progress in the wrong direction.
So you just have to know, what does it look like? What would it look like for me to make progress?
And
What's important to me? Is it writing that book? And writing a book can feel really daunting. Like, oh my God, I have to write the book, right? Mm-hmm. But then it's about organization and breaking it down into little steps. Maybe it's about clearing that desk where you would want to write your book. Just doing that is making progress, right? Mm-hmm. But it starts, if you go back even further, you have to know you want to write a book. So what's the vision you have for your life? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have?
What do you want to give?
All of that.
What do you want to contribute? I think what you're talking about is inspiration and feeling like, wow, yeah, imagine how it could be. And I think that's the virtuous purpose of things like inspirational Instagram posts or makeover shows or motivational posters and books and things like that. I mean, that's the positive side of those things. I think what's fascinating to me is that all of those same things can have the opposite effect of being a morale destroyer if your mindset at the time of interacting with those things is one of beating yourself up because you're not there right now already.
Right.
You can't conceive of yourself in that way. So it's just amazing to me how much it's that mind game. It's that internal life.
It is.
And it's, again, walking that razor's edge, living in that narrow path of accepting yourself and being at peace with how things look right now. and really being like, you know what? I'm okay with how I'm starting.
Mm-hmm.
And because only with that level of peace and acceptance do you have enough psychic energy left to devote yourself to making a change in the positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that kind of peace and psychic energy, you're going to, all of it's taken up with, oh, I'm such a loser. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, making excuses and, you know, all of the vicious cycle, the bad habit stuff.
Yeah. And I think you have to be willing. I think you have to be willing to call yourself out on things. And that doesn't need to be like you're punishing yourself or you're, you know,
Right.
being so hard on yourself, but to go to see things how they are and not make it worse than they are. Like just
Exactly.
to go, hey,
Exactly that.
you know what? Oh my God, I said I wasn't going to be a couch potato today, but look, I was a couch potato today. Okay, what do I need to do so that this doesn't happen tomorrow? What is a better thing for me to be doing with my time? Maybe I can have my computer on my writing desk and have it all prepped for me so that when couch potato feelings come in, I can instead go to my clear writing desk. It's going to be very inviting. And I'll go there and I will just write for 15 minutes. That's it. Just that. Because I think in a way it's kind of like sex. Like you just start it and then you're in your...
It gets you in the mood.
Yeah, you're in your virtuous cycle. You know, it's not like, oh, I got to do this.
Like exercise.
It's all of those things. But to my earlier point, I still think it's so important for us to spend time realizing what it is we think we want in life, what it is we like, who we want to be in our lives. You know, spending time there, because having a vision that can bring you into the feeling tone of what your life might be like, who you might be like in another virtuous scenario, I think that can have so much power to pull us out of these vicious cycles. But we need to spend time cultivating those visions for ourselves.
This is okay. So I think the fact that this act of visioning and imagining works so well for you as a motivator, right? That's what you're saying, is that you think it's so important because that's how you are able to generate or to receive the level of motivation that will actually prompt you to do the change in behavior, like exercise or like plan out a healthy menu and stuff, right?
For
like,
me, yes.
Yeah, the vision
For me,
and surrounding yourself in a mental way with this vision and the imagining.
Well,
yes, go ahead.
I will say that why I love visioning. Well, okay, I don't always love it. I got to admit. Sometimes it feels like a lot of work. But it gets more fun when I start to give myself to it. When I give myself over to the vision, that's when it's more fun. When I vision from a place of stress and trying to control everything, like, oh, but how am I going to make that happen? I don't know. And then I get all stressed out and I get in the way of the vision. That's when it's not fun. But I think ultimately why visioning works for me is that when I have a vision of who I want to be and what I want to do in life, I can go to that vision, immerse myself in it, feel great about imagining what my life could be like, that automatically puts me in the frequency of a virtuous habit, a virtuous cycle. It starts me in that virtuous
From the inside
cycle.
out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I'm in that frequency, it is way easier. It is way easier to take the next step, actual step of the virtuous cycle.
And at the time that you're taking that step, you're already that step that you're taking arises out of that inspired feeling.
It feels way more natural. It feels way easier than being on the couch, being in couch potato mode, not having a vision, and just telling myself, oh, don't be in a couch potato mode. How do I write? Oh, I got to get up and write. That's not inspired. That doesn't feel good. Versus having a vision of, I have the, having something to say, wanting so much to say it through a book, being able to see myself at book signings, being able to see happy readers, feeling that what I've written really inspired them. They're feeling good, and being so in touch with how that looks and feels. And having that inspire me to get my butt into the writing chair and to write. It's just a different frequency than not having anything really to go off of versus I'm just on the couch. I'm a couch potato. and I just know I should be writing, without having that vision.
Okay. I think it's a perfect illustration, the difference that you and I have in terms of what is our natural motivators. Mm-hmm. Because again, what you describe is the quote unquote work is in the inner. It's in your mental
inner work
pictures.
First.
Yeah,
for me, it's inner
and creating.
Inner inspires the outer. I think for you, the outer affects your inner. Right?
Kind of. Yeah, I think that's an oversimplification, but yeah, in general, I feel like what you're talking about that helps you to break and go from a vicious cycle to a virtuous cycle is doing the work on the inside, doing the work in the thought, in the world of thought and mental picturing and imaging, and creating that nurturing, inspiring environment in your mind's eye. And that helps you to motivate you to take the action. Whereas, and this is circling around to the point that I had forgotten earlier.
Oh, okay.
The key word is motivation. Like what motivates us. So I think in your case that a feminine energy way of effectively motivating a feminine energy is to create that atmosphere of nurturing. To create
nurturing a vision.
Yeah, to create a friendly atmosphere that supports, encourages, that believes in, that is supportive all the way around. It's comforting. It's right. And on the extreme opposite end, I'm not saying you and I are extreme opposites, but just to make a point, on the other opposite end is the masculine energy method of motivating is not to create this comforting environment. It's to create a challenging environment. And I think this is best illustrated when you think of rites of passage, especially for young boys, right? In native cultures and indigenous cultures, there's this rite of passage where you need to prove yourself. You're being challenged to prove yourself. And I think that's a very masculine energy thing. It's like, look at you, you're on the couch. So what? What do you think? Is that it? Like, is that all you got? And that's opposite from you're a great author and you're going to write things and right. And I think listeners can see how either method could motivate, but it just depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that everything that I always need a vision to motivate myself. It depends on what it is.
Yes, exactly. Right? It depends. But I guess my point is just that both methods are valid. It depends on the person. It depends on what area of life and their history, and and it's up to us. And it's fun and fascinating to me to know yourself or to know another person well enough to be able to know, like, okay, what's going to, quote, work to motivate me in each of these different arenas where I want to make change.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes this very nurturing kind of feminine energy, for lack of a better word. And other times it takes a challenging kind of, I dare you kind of approach. But in either case, both of those methods can result in the action that you actually want to see, right? The change. It's like, yeah, I'm going to get up off my ass and I'm going to watch this, man. Here I am. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And that's coming from the masculine side, and the other side is, oh yes, no, that's right. That is who I am. I'm doing this. Yes.
I don't know.
You're like, I don't know if I buy that.
I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
For me, I think the vision why visioning is so important to me is that I know what my life was like without visioning. And I felt so, not misdirected, but just not non-directed. And I want what I do, I want to know that what I'm doing, that I'm moving towards something greater.
Yes.
Of
course, yes.
In terms of what I put out in the world, who I want to be in the world. And to me, having at least a relationship with what that might be, who I might be, having a vision is a relationship of sorts. You don't just do your vision once and that's it. You're constantly nurturing it. Right. You're constantly adjusting it. And you have to be in touch with it. I just love that because I'm a planner, and I like to have a kind of a map of, okay, where am I headed? Where am I going? How, and that's how I measure my personal, where I am personally at any given time. It's like, okay, where, how am I feeling and what am I doing, and how does this compare to the vision that I have in certain areas of my life?
Yeah.
So I still think that there is challenge in that, though. Because just because you're nurturing a vision doesn't mean it's smooth sailing.
Right. Of course.
But it is having something greater and being in touch with that greater picture for your life that I feel can help you pull yourself out of slumps, times when you're not exercising, the best choices. And that can still be a challenge.
Yes.
Even if you have a vision. But having a vision, and the more clear it is, and the closer relationship you have with it, can get you primed into a frequency to help you make your vicious cycle more easily to get out of.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with the...
It just sounded so rainbows and unicorns, the way you presented it. Like, like masculine is like challenge and you get it done. And then feminine's like, la, 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 it's just rainbows and unicorns and it's easy. I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that either.
Yeah, it's not... I just think it's just so many different levels of like having the picture for your life, having that inspire you, helping that get you in the frequency, the energetic mode, so that you can match that energy with what you really want to be doing, versus being in one frequency and having to just drum up out of nothing a different frequency.
Okay.
It's kind of like if you feel happy everything's pretty easy, right? It's easier when you're happy.
Yes. Yes.
If you're like, oh, it's a great day. What? I got to take out the garbage? Okay.
right. Right.
Versus like, oh, today was horrible. And it's raining and you're like, oh, shoot, I got to take out the garbage. Let me get my jacket on. And I mean, that's such a silly example because it's not hard to take out the garbage. But it's like when you are in a high vibration, you raise everything up. Everything else that is lower than you, you can help raise that up.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So a couch potato nest, when you are in a high vibration, you can help go, okay, wait, you know what? It's okay I was a couch potato today. Tomorrow,
right,
this is what I'm going to do.
Yes.
And you can really prime yourself. But sometimes you need that primer, and a vision can be the primer.
Yes. Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Like, and I completely agree with you about having a vision for your life so that you're not just wandering aimlessly like some plastic bag floating down the street and whatever, right? Having a vision, having intention, having a grander plan, knowing what you want and knowing what target you're aiming for.
Yeah.
Totally on board with that. Vision, everybody needs that. Masculine, feminine, don't matter. That's a universal thing. I guess what I'm talking about is the fact that our emotions and our physicality affect each other.
Yes.
So while on one hand, going back to our couch potato example, the couch potato, we can be sitting on the couch and our emotions are at blah, blah. And we can do the work. Either way, it's work. But one way is to do the work on the inside, in our thoughts and emotions, and do the work on the inner, and be like, man, I have this vision though, and I'm gonna envision, doing non-couch potato-y things, right? And that you're kind of influencing the cycle, starting with the emotional or inner realm, and then that instigates a physical action, which is getting up from the couch and taking action. Or you can bypass and not, instead of starting work on the inner, you can just be like, I'm not even going to think about it. I know how to stand up. So I'm just going to stand up and start walking.
Yes. And that's how you are.
And I'm just making a case. Yes. I think I'm more that way.
That. Yeah.
And hey, because we are integrated beings, once you tell your muscles just to stand up and start walking, that influences the inner and the emotional experience.
Yeah. But I just wanted to point out that when I'm talking about the vision and you're in couch potato mode, you're not necessarily there as a couch potato and then you go, hey, wait, what is my vision? Who do I want to be? Not in that mode. That's not necessarily how I would use it.
Okay.
I would use the vision to start the day off so that the frequency can hopefully be there throughout the day.
Right.
And that you don't even need to be in couch potato mode, or you tell yourself, okay, I am just going to watch a half-hour show and that's it. So you don't have to be in couch potato, but you can still enjoy a show.
Right.
And then go and take the next action step for yourself.
Yes. I hear you.
So it's not like you're in the vicious cycle and then you're like, let me call on my vision. Because that's not necessarily easy, because when you're in that couch potato mode, that is a certain
It has
vibration.
you in its clutches already.
Yes.
Right? So you're saying,
you need to prime your day
Yes.
with a vision.
Yes.
And knowing how you even want your day to be.
Yes. And I think that is the value
Can you hear my stomach?
Your stomach is growling. So we need to stop and get something to eat right after this.
Oh my God.
But
it's
yeah,
so loud.
that's the value of, and the importance of the type of people that you surround yourself with, of the types of things that you listen to, books you read, things that you put in front of your eyeballs, whether it's YouTube or whatever. That's the importance of all those things, because those things are either going to fuel a vicious cycle or a virtuous cycle, right? So you're saying, hey, first thing in the morning, spend time with your vision.
Yeah. And I'm so like vision, like pushing a vision now.
You sure
I
are. You're a vision
that.
pusher, man.
I used to be that, but then I stopped because I kind of lost touch with a certain part of myself. And I think I mentioned that somewhere. But now that I have uncovered why that happened and what I want to do next and all this kind of stuff, it's so close to me now what it was like living without a vision and what it's like now living with a vision.
The contrast.
It's huge to me, you know, and I'm so grateful. But I think that something I'll say with, you know, how you were saying like the motivators of like a makeover show and all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Like, I gotta say, those are the shows that make me tear up, you know? And I think the thing it's touching is just that the possibility, right?
Right.
Because for all of us, I would say there's something we want to change in our lives.
Yes.
And sometimes it almost feels like it's impossible. And yet any type of show that shows a change for someone, anything, just shows the possibility.
Yes.
It's like, look, this can happen.
Yes.
You know? And then how good the people feel.
Right.
You're just like, oh my God, they're just, you know, like when you see those people living in like all kinds of stuff around them and they're just like buried under all their clothes and there's no organization and their whole life is crap or whatever, right? And then they have a facilitator. They talk with the facilitator and they're like, well, I would love this, but I don't know. The room's so small. I can't even see how this could happen, but I'd love to have a writing space or whatever it might be, right? I'd love to have a space for this. And then the person helps them because it's often the people outside of us, if they are true supporters, who are able to truly see what's possible for us.
Yes.
Than even what we could see for ourselves,
Yes,
which is why it's great to have teachers.
Right.
And people who inspire you.
Yes.
Because those are the people that are going to help hold sacred space for something greater than you can even imagine for yourself. So anyways, and then they do the reveal. And then now the person's like, oh my God, you know, and then you see them have more life infused in them.
Yeah. And I think the
yeah.
reason for their life and the reason we are so touched when we see those kinds of things and the reason those kinds of stories, the before and the after, it's all about that, right? It's the before and the after. The reason that reaches us so much is because that is the living manifestation of the evolutionary force at work.
Yes.
That is the evolutionary force.
Yes. Okay. All right.
The stomach growling.
The stomach is growling. Bear is crying. Oh boy.
Okay. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank you for hanging with us on this rambling conversation about virtuous cycles. Let's all get on one. Cheering on. Yay. Virtuous Cycle Fan Club. Here we are. Okay.
Oh, wait. I want to say something.
Okay.
Okay. Before the next growling cycle happens.
Okay.
Okay.
Stomach growling. All right.
So I think what's important or a very practical tip can be to, I know we're all on so many different email lists, but to really identify which ones truly inspire you to live from that vision that you have for yourself, to make sure you're on those lists because, you know, there are some blogs that I love. And when I get the newsletter, I'm like, oh my God, I love that. That is so amazing. You know, so I think it's sometimes helpful to get on certain lists so you can constantly, you know, whenever they send an email, just get a little shot of inspiration.
Yeah.
Or books, like how you have your workout book.
Always, any way that works for you to feed the good wolf, right? To feed the good angel on your shoulder. Feed that one. And we hope that this podcast is one of those things for you. That's why we do it.
Yes.
We just want to encourage you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Until next time,
This is Siena.
and this is Toast, as always, inviting you to come and live your love story.